Namaskar and welcome to Sunset Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and you're watching our special show Perspective, where we bring you detailed analysis of all key national and international issues. In this episode, we will discuss and analyze all aspects of this particular summit, try and understand the significance and relevance of the East Asia Summit as well, this particular platform. And for more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of experts. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with, we have with us in the studio former Ambassador Sreeram Chaulia with us. Welcome, sir, to Sunset TV. We're also joined by Dr. Sreeram Chaulia, Foreign Affairs expert, and Retired Commodore Anil Jai Singh, who is Vice President of Indian Maritime Foundation. Welcome, both of you gentlemen, as well to Sunset TV. Dr. Chaulia, I'd like to bring you in here, as Ambassador Sharma pointed out, the significant part, obviously, one of the significant part is President Joe Biden taking part in the summit, but also what we bring to the table as a founding member of this summit.
So, Vishal, the East Asia Summit is open architecture, and it's about creating a sense of a region where, in spite of the geopolitical differences and divisions and rivalries, all key member countries, ASEAN, ASEAN plus 6, now ASEAN plus 6 plus 2, 18 countries have something in common, which is, the shared geography and the shared space where we want to avoid, extreme rivalries that can lead to wars or conflicts. So it is about managing the region with the highest level leadership being engaged. So to that extent, you are right that India brings something special, because we are in South Asia. We are not exactly in East Asia, but we have been involved in the regional architecture building. And we want our presence to be felt more to our east as part of our Act East policy. So we are engaging very closely with ASEAN, also with other member countries in the Oceania, which includes Australia and New Zealand, and of course Japan and South Korea. China, of course, there is an adversarial relationship, no doubt about that. But China is also part of East Asia Summit. So in that sense, it's a very inclusive forum. Okay. And I think Prime Minister's agenda has always been to try and bring the region together with an emphasis on ASEAN centrality. And ASEAN centrality means essentially we should strengthen this regional organization so it is able to withstand what we clearly see as a Chinese bullying and hegemonic conduct. Okay. But on the other hand, if the US is coming back in, as Ambassador Sreeram Chaulia just mentioned, that's also beneficial to keep the balance in the region, because in the earlier, during Trump administration, they had not paid enough attention to counterbalancing China through regional formations. So of course they will talk cooperation, of course there'll be a joint statement, of course it will look like we agree on some fundamental minimum common denominator. But at the same time, the presence and the voice of all these players will also place a check, because the Chinese economic dominance and the infrastructure dominance is too high in the region. And our goal, all the other players, the peripheral countries that are coming in from other sub-regions, is to maintain that balance and to make sure that ASEAN is not weakened or divided or broken down through a Chinese game. But of course, Chinese have their own diplomacy with all these players at East Asia Summit, and they cannot be ignored either. So it's a very interesting formation.
Dr. Chaulia, your views there on what has been done and what needs to be done vis-a-vis India's Act East policy, because that forms a very significant pillar of our outreach to this part of the world, and it is really important, not only in economic terms, but also in regional security and strategic terms as well.
Yeah, you rightly said there are two pillars here. One is the economy and closer economic integration with the region, and the other is the security, where our Navy can play a significant role as a net provider of stability and security in the region for sea lanes of communication. I think on the economic front, like you said, we already have FTA now with ASEAN and with most of the other member countries in the region, except, of course, China, with whom we have a deficit and we can never do an FTA with them. But otherwise, almost all of them, I think Australia and New Zealand are the other ones left out. But pretty much everyone is covered, and our trade is expanding with all of them. And that is a matter of satisfaction. But the region had expected, or many of the East Asia Summit members had expected, that we will also join RCEP, the RCEP. And that we could not due to various reasons and because of the bargaining during the negotiations. So China has positioned itself as a kind of a leader of the regional economic integration engine now. And our absence there somehow needs to be compensated through other measures. And the fact that our exports are now booming, in the post-COVID period, and we are really looking to target more markets is something we should be looking at. On security front, through Quad and also through trilateral and bilateral naval exercises, we are now being more omnipresent in the region on a continuous basis throughout the year. And our patrols and joint patrols with partner nations have expanded. And a lot of countries like Vietnam, Philippines, they really appreciate India. They want more of us, our presence there. Of course, our core region is Indian Ocean region, but we are also moving further east to project power. And ultimately, in 10, 15 years, you can see the full bloomed nature of India as a major East Asian power. Right now, it's arguable that we are only limited to Indian Ocean and that our presence further afield is not as significant. But together with like-minded partners, be it Quad, Quad Plus, or with individual or bilaterally or trilaterally with ASEAN countries, we are making a presence. With Australia, we have a major relationship. With Japan, Prime Minister Modi has made it a very central plank of our Act East policy.
Indeed.
So we are hitting all the right notes. It's just a matter that, the perception is that India is out of the economic integration project. Even the US is out because the US quit both the Trans-Pacific Partnership and is not even part of RCEP. So both India and the US need to think how we can integrate closer through other means for connectivity. And already there's a Quad connectivity initiative. There's a vaccine initiative for COVID-19 recovery. There are other means by which I think India can play a constructive role and be a net provider of stability and security in the region, which is our aspiration.
Indeed. And quick concluding comments from you, Dr. Chaulia, on the China factor one, and second, as Mr. Sharma is pointing out, that clearly we will have to look at both the security and economic aspect as well. Economic more so in the post-pandemic period right now. It's very important for most of these ASEAN member nations as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they are looking to India as a big market for them, and we have been fairly open to them for their exports, and we would also have like to have more reciprocal access to their markets. But one thing which we must be emphasized, Vishal, is our cultural diplomacy. Also, Prime Minister has emphasized the Buddhist circuit, and he is now developing the infrastructure within India to connect it to ASEAN region and beyond.
Indeed,
and,
that's a very important aspect.
Buddhism matters, and India is central for Buddhism, and we have to emphasize more of that cultural connect. It may sound like a platitude, but it's not. For the average people in that whole region in Indo-Pacific, Buddhism is a source of sustenance and faith, and they all need to know that India is a source of this, and we support these civilizational linkages that is going to be complementing the security and the economic linkages, the cultural diplomacy.
Okay, there it is. Thank you so much, Dr. Chaulia, Kamal Singh, as well as Mr. Shilkant Sharma, for sharing your views and inputs with our viewers.